Where is everybody? All right. I have no injuries to update you on. We came out pretty clean there. My hat goes off to our fans. What a great job they did. It's a tough place to play, and they truly are the 12th man in there, so we appreciate them a ton. Defensively and offensively, I thought the coordinators just had great game plans, and with the coaches, the assistant coaches, I thought they did a nice job likewise. And then there were some good personal things that went on. Pat Mahomes, he had a great day, and then Kelce, it was great to see him rolling 6 catches for 78 yards. Hollywood getting him into the mix, and he did a nice job. Pacheco had a nice day, and all of that because the offensive line played well. Andy Heck does a heck of a job with that, no pun intended. And then 6.1 yards per play, which was great there. It was a positive. And then special teams, I thought our return game was good. We didn't have but one punt, and then we got Bucker a field goal, which was great, man. He did a nice job of that thing, drilled it. All in all, a good night. I mean, I could keep going here, but it was one of those good nights. So, time's yours.
Andy, you mentioned the line right away. What did you see from Jalen Moore, and how did that all play out?
Yeah, Jalen, I thought did a nice job. He just had a baby too, which is a great thing. So last night or early this morning, however you want to put it, but he stepped in. Josh was gone for personal reasons, so for him to step in was a nice thing, and I thought he did a nice job. And tribute to Andy for rolling those guys during the week and getting that part done.
And when did you realize or understand you wouldn't have Josh, and when might you expect him back?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. When he's back, he's got to take care of that, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But we were aware of it. Yeah.
You just learned today, or last night?
Doesn't matter if I.
Coach Reid, how did y'all go from 13 penalties last week to 0 exceptions this week?
Yeah, so penalties are kind of a crazy thing. So it's sometimes they come in waves. So I thought the officials did a nice job, but I thought our guys did a nice job of correcting some of those, with a good conscious effort to put forward there. So, yeah, it was a positive though, really.
Andy, the initial 4th down that you went for inside of 10-yard line, just take me through that decision.
Yeah, the decision, I thought it was the right thing to do, especially when you're playing a team that scores a lot of points. But I just thought it was the right way to go. Those are all subjective decisions, and then I know if you talk to the stats guy, they're going to tell you to go for about every 4th down. And Frazier does a good job of keeping it within reason. So, but listen, it was the right time to do that.
Is the way the offense has been playing last week, and then the way they started out the game, does that make that decision with that kind of swing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it helps when we're doing okay. Yeah, and that sure does. Yeah.
Andy, you mentioned the game planning offensively and defensively, but to what do you attribute kind of the surge in the last 3 weeks or so and how the offense has been?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've said this, but getting one back was a big thing. Xavier brings a lot of energy, and he can do a lot of things for you. And then he has an attitude there that he brings, and getting Rasheed back in the building, I also think was a big part. I think they felt that they were whole again, at least by body there. So that was positive, having him back in the building.
And you also feel like Hollywood's kind of hitting his stride, and what you might have thought?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He had a nice day, 4 for 45, couple TDs. He's a good football player. He loves to play. So I'm trying to get him the ball in many ways. We had the jet sweep to him, which was good, and down in there in the red zone. So that was a helper.
Coach, their first drive was 15 plays, and they got down there and looked like they scored a touchdown. Were you aware of the teal hat?
Yeah, actually, the official told me right away what went on. So yeah, but it was weird. And so you don't see that very often. It was a different kind of play too. So they're very creative in what they do, and that one, he didn't get set, so that was a problem.
A little weird and maybe ugly at the end of the game. What was your view of what happened out there afterwards with the scuffle?
Yeah, well, you guys saw it. I mean, it was, the guy came up and hit Juju for what looked like no reason. I mean, we're taking a knee, so, that's tough. I mean, put pretty good damage on Juju's nose.
Andy, you scored touchdowns there right before halftime and right after halftime. How big was that in the game?
Yeah, well, they deferred, so they gave us an opportunity to get the ball the second half. We were able to come out and score there, which I thought that was big. Anytime you come out that second half and move the ball a little bit, I think it helps everybody. And then the first half, it was a good drive. I can't say enough about the Nagy's, the Blameyers, these guys that put that plan together, man. Connor and the whole group just had some good stuff. Todd Pinkston and his, De Leon, we've added into the mix here, and he gives us a nice perspective from the defensive side, and he's kind of gotten into the offensive part of it too, so that helps just with putting the game plan together. But I thought it was a thick game plan.
Andy, you mentioned Travis earlier, but can you elaborate a little bit on what you see about why he's so effective tonight, particularly?
I think he came back in great shape. I think he's been playing well all along. He particularly these last 3 weeks. So he came back in good shape, though. And at his age, that's important. That's a big thing.
Last one, Sam.
And you mentioned the offensive line, but not just protecting on each individual play, but just the impact of what they've done maybe the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You noticed that's had.
Yeah, you had asked me that before, and I agree with that they've gotten better as we've gone on. The young guys, or in this case, Jalen jumping in and doing his thing. So it's a good group, and they're physical. I think if you could take something away from this game, when they bear down, they can bear down. So that ends up being important.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, good.
With his superstar fiancé watching from the stands and the Kansas City Chiefs desperate to climb back to 0-5-0, Travis Kelce delivered his second consecutive electrifying performance in Week 6. The veteran tight end, whose age has sparked chatter throughout 2024 and 2025, erupted for a season high in receiving yards during a Sunday Night Football showdown with the formidable Detroit Lions. Even more crucial for the Chiefs, Kelce's key receptions directly set up scoring drives against one of the NFC's elite defenses. For a Kansas City squad entering the game at 2-3 and sitting third in the AFC West, a primetime triumph carried massive implications for early playoff momentum. Take a closer look at Kelce's unshakable chemistry with Mahomes, a connection that dominated the narrative of Week 6 on Sunday Night Football. Remarkably, it marked only the second time in 6 games this season that Kelce led the team in receiving, a feat that, in prior seasons, would have seemed routine. But amid his statistical decline, this resurgence shone with undeniable significance. With Rossi Rice set to make his return to the Chiefs next week, Kelce continued to be Mahomes' go-to weapon, leading the team with 7 targets and 6 receptions. Xavier Worthy contributed with 4 targets for 20 yards and a touchdown, while Juju Smith-Schuster added 57 yards and Hollywood Brown found the end zone twice. As an extra milestone, Kelce surpassed Jason Witten on the all-time list for receiving yards in primetime NFL games. In Kansas City, Missouri, the Detroit Lions are set to field both of their starting safeties for tonight's high-stakes clash against the Chiefs on Sunday, October 12th. Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are active despite missing practice time this week due to injuries, adding intrigue to the defensive matchup. Joseph missed all practice this week due to a lingering knee injury dating back to the Lions' Week 4 win over the Cleveland Browns, while Branch was limited Wednesday and Thursday and did not practice Friday because of a foot issue. Joseph played through his injury last week, and Lions coach Dan Campbell confirmed he expects Branch to play after the third-year safety underwent an MRI on Thursday. The Lions are also without both starting quarterbacks, with DJ Reed on injured reserve, hamstring, and Terrion Arnold inactive, shoulder, while backup safety slot corner Anti Maddox is sidelined with a midweek hamstring injury. Amik Robertson and Rocky Sin are slated to start at cornerback, and additional key absences include left tackle Taylor Decker, shoulder, linebacker Zach Cunningham, hamstring, running back Cyan Vakey, groin, safety Lauren Strickland, and defensive lineman Mai Wingo, leaving the Lions at 4-1 with a depleted lineup. Detroit Lions star running back David Montgomery is poised to effortlessly surpass the over 10.5 carries prop for Sunday night, having already cleared it in 4 of 5 games while riding the momentum of his season-high 18 carries in Week 5. He faces a Kansas City Chiefs rush defense struggling to find consistency in 2025, currently ranking just 12th in most rushing yards allowed per game, creating an enticing opportunity for fantasy and real-time excitement. Meanwhile, Xavier Worthy emerges as a high-octane weapon in the Chiefs' aerial attack, with QB Patrick Mahomes deliberately feeding him the ball since his return to the lineup. In the 2 games back, Worthy has racked up 17 targets and eclipsed his Week 5 reception total with 6 catches, cementing his role as a game-changing playmaker. Desperate for explosive, momentum-shifting plays, the Chiefs lean on Worthy's speed and agility to ignite the offense, making him a focal point in their quest to dominate Sunday night and captivate fans in a high-stakes, primetime showdown. Worthy can explode on a go route or dominate a short slant. Facing a Detroit Lions defense that has allowed the 12th fewest passing yards per game, making him a prime target for Mahomes to shift momentum and create highlight reel plays. Meanwhile, this receiving prop appears inflated for Lions TE1 Sam Laporta after his season-high 92 yards on 5 catches in Week 5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. While impressive, Laporta now faces a far stingier Chiefs secondary, a dramatic contrast to the Bengals, who've surrendered the most fantasy PPR points to tight ends this season in 2025. Kansas City's defense, ranked 3rd fewest in points allowed to the position, sets the stage for a high-stakes showdown, intensifying suspense and making every target a potential game-changing moment. Over the last 4 weeks, Kansas City has completely shut down opposing TE1s, with none surpassing Sam Laporta's 46.5 receiving yard prop, making the under an enticing high-value play for sharp bettors. Travis Kelce, coming off a solid 61-yard performance in Week 5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, now faces a much tougher challenge against the disciplined Detroit Lions secondary. His under 45.5 receiving yards prop stands out as a strategic pick for Sunday night, with history favoring restraint. Only once this season has a TE1 eclipsed 45.5 yards versus the Lions, Mark Andrews posting 91 yards, highlighting the Chiefs' defensive dominance and adding a suspenseful, high-stakes edge to the matchup.